Hi guys, so today we're talking about lesson 4.3, working with rational exponents, and this might be a little tricky, so feel free to pause the video to catch up, or just send me a message if you have any questions, and hopefully we can work through this together. So before we get started, we're just going to recall some exponent laws, specifically the negative law. So if I have a squared over a cubed, that's the same as a times a over a times a times a. Then I can start to cancel out, and I can cancel out two a's. Now I'm left with 1 over a. This is also the same as subtracting 2 minus 3, my exponents, because that's the division law, which leaves me with a to the power of negative 1. So therefore, 1 over a equals a to the power of negative 1. So the rule here is a to the power of negative x equals 1 over a to the power of x. If I have 5/6 to the power of negative 2, that's the same as 1 over 5/6 squared from this up here, which is the same as 1 over 25 over 36, which is 5 squared over 6 squared. And then to divide a fraction, I would multiply by the reciprocal. So that would be 1 times 36 over 25, which is equal to now 6 over 5 squared. So therefore, the rule is a over b to the power of negative x equals b over a to the power of positive x. So a negative exponent becomes positive when we use the reciprocal. This is important for this lesson today. All right, so today there's going to be a new exponent rule. And that is the rational exponent rule. The rational exponent rule says that when I have x to the power of a over b, that equals x to the power of a, all to the power of 1 over b, which is the same as the b root of x to the power of a, or the b root of x, all to the power of a. So when I have the b root of x, I'm asking what number multiplied by itself b times equals x. All right, let's work through some examples. So A, if I have 256 to the power of 3/8, and I need this to be simplified with 1 power, this is equal to the 8th root of 256 all cubed. So I take the bottom of my fraction, and that becomes the root, and the 3 stays as the exponent. So now, inside the bracket here, I'm going to ask myself, what number multiplied by itself 8 times equals 256? Or what to the power of 8 equals 256? So if you can't think of the number, you can use your calculator. You should have a button that looks like the square root sign with something like an X there maybe, or an A or a B. And then you'll be able to press 8, that button, and then 256 equals, and that equals 2. So now this bracket is equal to 2, and that's all cubed. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So 256 to the power of 3/8 is actually just equal to 8. So see how that's a lot simpler? So now you've simplified that question. B, 4/9 to the power of 1.5. So as soon as you see 1.5, you're going to want to change that to a fraction. So 1.5 as a fraction would be 3/2. And now I have 4/9 to the power of 3/2. And I'm going to make my denominator the square root. So the square root of 4/9, and then all of that cubed. So see how this 2 went there, and this 3 stayed up there. So now 2 is just the square root. So the square root of 4/9, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. So now I have 2/3 cubed. 2/3 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. Over 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So 4/9 to the power of 1.5 is equal to 8/27. All right, C. 729 to the power of -5/6. So because this is negative, we're going to think back to the exponent rule we talked about at the beginning, and that means I can use the reciprocal and make it a positive power. So this is equal to 1/729 all to the power of 5/6. And now, in order to get rid of this fraction in my exponent, I'm going to do the 6th root of 1/729 all to the power of 5. So the 6th root of 1 would still be 1, so it's going to be 1 over something. The 6th root of 729, if you can't think of it, use your calculator again. So the 6th root of 729 is equal to 3, and then all of that to the power of 5 is equal to 1/243. All right, D. 343x to the power of 12 all to the power of 2/3. So now you need to remember that when you have a bracket with multiple terms in it, each term in that bracket has the exponent applied to it. So this is going to be 343 to the power of 2/3 times x to the power of 12 to the power of 2/3. So that means I multiply the 12 and the 2/3 because of the power of a power rule. So that leaves me with 343 to the power of 2/3 times x to the power of, so I have 12 times 2/3 is 24/3 is 8, so x to the power of 8. Now, 343 to the power of 2/3 is the same as the cubed root of 343 all squared times x to the power of 8. So the cubed root of 343, you can use your calculator for that, is 7. So now I have 7 squared times x to the power of 8 equals 49x to the power of 8, which is a lot simpler than 343x squared to the power of 2/3. All right, E. 625a to the power of 8 divided by 16c to the power of 20 all to the power of -5/4. So now, remember, this negative exponent means I'm going to use the reciprocal. So I'm just going to switch these. So now I have 16c 20 divided by 625a8, all to the power of 5 over 4. So now I'm going to take the fourth root of 16c20 over 625a8 and multiply it by 5. Or sorry, to the power of 5. All right, so the fourth root of 16 is 2, because 2 to the power of 4 is 16. Now c to the power of 20, the fourth root of that, it's like saying c to the power of 20 all to the power of 1/4. So I can just multiply 20 by 1/4. So 20 times 1/4 is the same as 20 over 4, which is equal to 5. So that would be c to the power of 5. The fourth root of 625 is 5. And then I have a to the power of 8 and the fourth root of that. So that's a to the power of 8 times 1/4 equals 8 over 4 equals 2. So now I have a squared, and all of that to the power of 5. So now I have 2 to the power of 5, which is 32. And then I have c to the power of 5 to the power of 5, which is c to the power of 25. Then I have 5 to the power of 5, which is 3,125. And then a squared to the power of 5, which is a to the power of 10. All right, so that wraps up the lesson, actually. It was really quick. Just let me know if you have any questions. I do find it's a little confusing, but hopefully you can understand it from this video, and hopefully you have a great day.